Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon here for Tabletop Tap Room. This is part 2 of our interview with Ernie Gygax Jr. Um, it's it's probably going to be a little less controversial than the part 1. I believe I've used the word bland to describe it. I've edited a little bit out of it, particularly our conversation actually strayed into confidential medical matters, and so not for public consumption, cut it out. But for the most part, he talks about Tim Kask, comments on Tim Kask, Joe Magniello, various people. His father, one of the things that really impacted his father in later life after leaving TSR. And so it was a wide-ranging discussion. He gives a little bit of a review of Giantlands, what he thought of Giantlands at the time. There's some discussion of Star Frontier's New Genesis, dating Gail Gygax before she became Gail Gygax, various things. So it's a little bit more bland than the first one, but there's still some interesting material here, and so I'm throwing it out there to the universe, and I kind of feel like it does put a little bit more of a human face on Ernie. It certainly helped me understand him a little bit better, as opposed to just being somebody observing the stuff that just happens out there in the world, what you see in the news. So there it is, and hope you enjoy it. It's a great conversation, great phone conversation, and I certainly appreciated opening a line of communication with somebody I didn't know very well. So,
Justin's fair game, but
oh yeah,
but, okay, but don't hurt Duck. He's not a bad dude.
Yeah, I know, and there's some people out there, they want to be like, Duck has no excuse. He's there working with the company, and
Jim Wampler's saying that, but that's just because he's Tim Katz's sidekick. And Tim Kask is happy as anything with me. We talk and stuff, but again, that's sometimes the lackeys don't get the message. But at the same time, Tim is in charge of Tim and all that, and anybody else. But Tim, I've known him since obviously he was working in our basement.
Yeah, well, Tim has a I don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, that's how I frame that in my head about him, and I kind of like him for it.
Well, I'm not very shy, so if you when it comes to things, but at the same time, I really just want to focus on the idea of games and having good games. And I just want to get this module of Robert Donald Pagers out someday, and then I'm going to even still wait and see. Maybe I won't have it published by TFR, or maybe I'll wait until the Wizards of the Coast thing is through, because I wouldn't, God damn it. But we've got this wonderful gentleman, this crippled fellow that at one Gary Con, he tried to get into one of my games, and there was enough space that I could squeeze his wheelchair in barely, and I was already double packed. They only give me like 8 or 10 people, and I already had like 18 or 19
in the game. Yeah.
So I said, I can get you, but I can't get the 2 ladies that are with you. And little did I know that he needs them, because not only does he use it for helping to understand, but then there's a suction device to get rid of phlegm out of his throat every 15 minutes or so you can understand him. And, and also he had to prop his neck because he could holding it up, because he's had a tough road. But this kid, instead of being pissed off, he just says, well, I started with a poor character, but it gives me opportunities to show advancement and to show you what can be done with less. And when somebody approaches life like that, it makes me feel a little less sorry for myself and, buck up a little bit and be able to step forward and carry on to the next level. But
Sure.
He came back the next day to get in my game, and then I think I had Joe Magniello with me, and that meant there was absolutely no room even to be around in the room. So then he handed me a note, and I can even pull it off the wall here again, and it says, because this started me, and that's why I've had 4 conventions, 3-day conventions with Robert after this. Ernie Gygax, I just wanted you to know that what you and your family created allowed me to explore inner worlds with my friends when I was physically incapable of exploring the external world. My life is still full of adventure. Furthermore, I am stronger, wiser, and all-around better person because of the lessons from these adventures and stories. You made the world better. Thanks. Robert Donald Pager, the cripple with the long red hair. Okay? So since then, every year around his birthday, which is July 2nd, we have a convention, and 3 of them have been at my house or Donna's house, our house, and one, because it was just so much easier for him, we held at the hotel he was staying at, the Cove down by the lake.
Right.
And every year I'm going to keep on doing that, and I'm trying to get him now to come to PhoenixCon next year, since it's only about half an hour away from his home in Shawano, Wisconsin.
Sure.
And so, everybody's a mixed ball of wax. We're not all good. We're not all evil.
and very few of us are the worst thing we ever did in our life. I would hate to be judged for the worst thing I ever did in my life, and I'm sure you would say the same.
Yeah. I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and so I understand a lot I was given what I believe to be good values, but I also didn't like the concept of following orders and potentially having a Kool-Aid party, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Welcome to Guyana. So I believe in a higher power, but I do not believe in organized religion. Or I don't follow any organized religion. And from there, so the best thing I can do is that I have a higher respect for those that seem to have pets and animals, because it seems that they care for something, or lots of kids, I get, that they raise well and don't just have money around and rags or whatever. But and then otherwise, I love gaming and gamers of all types, sizes, shapes, drippy noses to, six-pack muscles. It doesn't matter what you got. Just,
I guess
roll for initiative.
You have to like the gamers with the six-pack muscles if you had Joe Magniello in your game, sitting in your game there.
But what he did, he used his motion of giant strength, and instead of going and beating the crap out of stuff, he used it to be able to play Tarzan, swinging around, like taking a swing as he flies through the air, and then going to the other side and swinging back. But he wasn't using all of his pluses and his benefits. But he was having fun. And I think it was much more being seen to do odd and heroic things. So appearance was as important as effect.
Yeah. Well, he seems like a good guy. I enjoyed his stint on Critical Role when he stole the hand of Vecna, which is now legendary. But he seems like a good guy, and I certainly have enjoyed watching him on Critical Role and pulling the fast one that he did. Great respect for that.
Well, he's got 2 good things going for him. One is that at one time he was screwed up and was an alcoholic, and he got out and had stayed out. And the second thing is that he's part of the Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh Children's Hospital group, and does things like Make-A-Wish and donations and things for his old home community.
Well, that makes me like him more, because my daughter with special needs has had repeated surgeries at Children's Hospital Boston, and I love that place.
Children's Hospital, and that's something that we should be thankful to Danny Thomas for, if I remember right. He's, I believe, the inspiration behind many of that. In the old days, and his daughter Marlo Thomas.
Yeah, she's kept it going.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. I was just lucky that Rachel was born in Boston, because the her syndrome is so rare. It's like 3 births in a million. And the only doctor in the world to have written a book on it actually works at Children's Hospital. So, I mean, we kind of, I get a little choked up.
You rolled your 20 or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I rolled a hard 20. That's a good way to put it. So it was, that was a blessing that God prearranged for us, obviously. And, that we could be there, and we didn't have to travel from like Dallas, Texas to see this doctor, that type of thing. So I love Children's Hospital.
We agree on some. Absolutely, without any reservation.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I ever came into some money, Children's Hospital would probably be top of the list for the first charitable donation.
I think that Red Cross deserves a little something, even if they're supposedly wasteful sometimes, because when I had a fire, within an hour, there was somebody there, tried to say, do you have a place to stay right now? There wasn't much. I think for 2 of us, it was an $80 gift card, so we could go to Walmart, because I had a pair of shorts, my shoes, and a T-shirt. The shorts were just evening shorts with my wallet and my cell phone and my car keys in my car. And then we got to go back in a couple days later and start trying to rescue stuff from smoke damage.
Right.
Stuff was destroyed. So,
yeah,
they were there, and I got several nights at a spot until my renter's insurance kicked in, and I was able to get a month's stay at the Comfort Suites.
Nice.
Yeah, well, that's nice. Not knowing that you've got somewhere, and that if that would have continued or whatever. But at that point, I was able to find another gamer who opened up his home, and then after a certain period of time, there's a small rent until things got to the point where I could buy my own place.
Right.
Because the renter's insurance, by losing a bunch of bulky items and a lot of good D&D stuff, I lost over $50,000 worth of stuff.
Sure.
But I got $16,800 in cash, because that was all the policy would pay out besides the hotel. So at least I had, $15,000 to put down on a place.
Oh, nice.
And that was what I needed for a $72,000 house in the edges of Lake Geneva, but not in Lake Geneva, in another Lyons County.
Okay.
Lyons Township, which is right by Lake Geneva. It's surrounded by Lake Geneva now. Lake Geneva is thrown around it. So we're a place that doesn't have streetlights, and and doesn't have sidewalks and all that, and has half the taxes. But I'm within 1 mile of everything in Lake Geneva.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, my mom is now living there. My 84-year-old mom, who uses a walker and has her 10 cats. And my house is suffering. But oh well, my mom is happy.
Right. And the cats probably make her happy too.
Oh yes. That's all she's got left, because she outlived her husband. And I was much younger, but that didn't matter. Cancer is a universal killer.
Yeah.
It doesn't care about anything at all. It just wants to grow until it kills you.
Yeah, well, my dad fought and beat cancer 6 times, but it came back a 7th, and that's when we lost him. So it was we've been through that go around.
I keep on thinking that I'm immune. So I've beat it once, and it was an easy beat because it was classic Hodgkin's. So with modern chemotherapy, something that would have killed me in a few years in the past was destroyable. And all it gave me was it took my spot cataracts and made it all over all my eyes. So I had to get new lenses. And I also have much worse neuropathy of my toes.
Oh, geez. Sorry to hear that.
But I'm not dead.
My father first had cancer back in 1990, and he, like I said, 6 times he fought and beat it, and it was 2021 when he passed, when it came back for the last time, and I remember telling him, I says, Dad, I don't know how you do it, and he's like, I just always believed you play the cards you've been dealt, because he managed to keep a good positive attitude through all of it. So
yeah, a positive attitude. Well, that's what I've always had, and that was the big thing when I'd go in for chemotherapy for like 2 hours at a time. I was pretty much the cheering group, and I also had my beautiful dog with me at the time, who's now history. My Casey, who was my border collie, she was fantastic. She was my gamer girl dog. She would be there. She'd have, we have different squeaky toys and things, and she'd keep the players active and off their cell phones. If they wanted to do something, she'd come over and give you something to do. If you're not going to pay attention to Dad, then here you go. Here's a duck, and throw that duck. And I miss her greatly. She was fantastic, and that was a real servant dog. And I didn't even know I got it because I have bone-on-bone knees. Now I have one replaced knee, which still hurts a little, but October will be a year. And I've got to get the other side done. But she's just that dog. I got it for that because I was feeling a little sorry for myself, and I wanted an excuse to do it. And yet, then I found that I was narcolepsy, I was passing out, and I was drinking like a fish, and all sorts. She wouldn't go out without me. I had a big yard where she could just run around, and I'd open the door and say, "Go on, Casey," and she'd well, come on, Dad, that kind of thing. She made me a better person, just like Donna makes me a better person. Yeah. And so I really miss that guidance that I got. And if it sounds crazy, I don't know, but I really believed it. And she was there for me until the bitter end.
All right. Well, hey, we've been on the phone close to an hour and a half. I don't want to take up all your time, but I definitely appreciate the talk. I definitely appreciated getting to know you. And I'm glad we agree about one thing.
I think there's more, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. And look, I'm not looking to cause trouble just to cause trouble. So, and I know that I'm persona non grata at the hobby shop, and that's okay.
It doesn't have to extend forever, but at this moment, obviously, but all things can change.
Well, honestly, I just want to, let's just get to the court case, let the court settle it, and then we can all move on. But Justin just keeps opening his mouth and stirring the pot, and then it's like, do I want us to do a video, or do I? Maybe I'll just let Tenkar do the video. So I'm like, because I'm at this point, to a certain degree, I'm kind of over it. I mean, it's just I'm like tired of it.
Yeah, I just am hoping, and see, I was hoping that Jeff was going to make these products better, because he is a fantastic editor, but now I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's already started, and there's already some stuff. The Dungeon Crawl with the Elmore art's about to hit, but now they're waiting on goddamn chipboard. And so we said, well, order more. So he's even ordered more, even though he's got enough, ordered. It's because why not? It can't hurt to have too much when you're going to be trying to print games.
Yeah. So did you guys find a new company? Because I'd heard that Delano Games wasn't gonna print Dungeon Crawl for you again.
Really, I thought they were.
Oh well, then my information could be wrong. That would I had a source who was like, yeah, I've heard quietly from them. They don't like Justin's online presence. And I was like, that's interesting. And I reached out to them, but they didn't answer me, which I didn't, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, I think so, but maybe not. Maybe this is just like the blue flu. You don't show up and then, are you ever going to publish that or print that? Well, maybe not. I hope not, but that would be a real bummer to be holding and waiting on someone's word. But I don't have to worry about that so much. But I hate that they're using my reputation and that I signed these 250 sheets because I was proud of the idea of putting out games from the building where the games were made, and that to see gaming come out and from this and then to grow, you need a seed, and it doesn't even have to be the first product for Dad was Cavaliers and Roundheads. It wasn't his first decision. It's what they could afford to print. It was a $3 book. And for $1,000, they had 1,000 of them. And then when it sold, they had $2,000 to be able to throw in, and that was what it took to do 1,000 Brown Box D&Ds. So even our first product was rules for English Civil War miniature battles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty eclectic and pretty small little sphere of input. That's smaller than Star Frontiers, a very small little fraction of an audience. And probably not too much over here, though a true wargamer miniaturist would enjoy it. But I would think they're either going to be like English Civil War, World War II, or Napoleonics.
Yeah, when my brother was, I had fallen away from D&D, and I'd been away for many years. And my brother was going to Iraq to work in a hospital. I knew he was going to be playing D&D, like during downtime, and so I went looking for a gift to give him for the just to because your brother's going to a war zone type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I found this place called the Hobby Bunker in Malden, Mass. It's not there now, but it's still in Mass. And so they sold they sold RPG products, but mostly they were about wargaming. And I walked in looking for a D&D product, but I walked to the back and there's these tables and everybody's wargaming. And there's this school teacher from my town, and he's got this gorgeous collection of pre-Napoleonics, 7 Years War. And they've got the 12-foot long by 6-foot wide table just laid out with this battle. And I just walked up and just in awe looking at it. And they're like, "Hey, you want to push a regiment or two?" And, it's like, and they just gave me 2 regiments. "You push these." I said, "I don't know the rules. This doesn't matter." I knew enough history that I could be dangerous on the table. Just, somebody tell me what to roll for the dice. But, and I was hooked. That's all it took. And I was hooked. And, so I love wargaming. And of course, Star Frontiers has a wargaming element to it with the Starship Battle portion of the game. But I've always loved wargaming.
I have not played the new product at all, so I cannot give any value or lack of such. When it came to Giant Land, the first time I tested that, I was with Steven, and I said, "This is cumbersome, and this doesn't work." And then I went back into the product line, and then I don't know, because they printed it before I could retest it. So with them, so that's where that was. So I was like, God damn it, I wish my friend Benoit which finally the Memorial Tomb is just waiting on the map paper. But Troll Lords, we know, are good.
Yeah, no, they have good product. I like Troll Lords.
Yes, and so that's finally going to hit, and then I'd like you to look at something. I think it's gonna wow you if you give it a chance.
Sure.
And that's going to be fun. That's not, and the only thing I can say positive about Justin is that when you play a game with him, he's a game player. All right. But again, with the verbiage and all this and online, I consistently am asking him, "Why are you even talking? There's no need." Yeah. And he says, "But I have to." And it's his money. He did this stuff, so I'm just I guess it's like a lawyer that someone ignores. Sometimes it can be frustrating, but I just hope someday there'll be some product, a few shekels, and that we don't lose the hobby shop. And I think we're going to still keep the Lizard Man, but logo and the name TSR. But that's all we'll see. And let the good Lord and then in a year and a half we may know something.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's all so much farting in the wind.
Yeah, that's And that's the thing is that the hobby shop really could have been something, but it's from outside observers, they feel like it's just been mismanaged. And that's not a criticism of you or Duck. It's really they're when they say mismanaged, they're looking at Lanassa on that. And I get his his management style's a little bit Trumpian, if I can say that. That a lot of bluster and get people riled up. But I don't.
And you either like what I have or you don't, kind of thing. Because he's got a lot of different things, and he does have some interesting taste when you see stuff. But at the same time, he's got a vape shop and stuff, so that's kind of neutral, not good.
Yeah, I get
selling tobacco and whatever is legal in your state products.
Yeah, I don't fault him for that. I don't fault him for being a businessman and having a successful business, even if it is a vape shop. It's I don't want to be too uncharitable, but I mean, I wanted to use the word douche, just the douchebaggery that's gone on. I don't really want to use that term because I feel like it's uncharitable. But you know what I mean.
And I think we've got a classic thing of why we see so many men in fights or boys in fights in schoolyards and whatever. There's those who cannot that must push back when they're shoved, and knock that chip off the shoulder. The old Robert Conrad from a million years ago, the guy from Baba Black Sheep and many other things.
Right.
Knock this ever-ready battery off my shoulder, I dare you. And there's an easier way to avoid confrontation and to just have better business and to make more friends. Because most people, you get to spend some time with them, and if we bump into you in your own home or take you doing something nice with your daughter or whatever, you would see a kind, gentle fellow. You wouldn't see, and Justin with his own daughter is very nice, but online he certainly is ready to add a little more energy to this, to upgrade this, and make it even worse, so that the other person feels they have to, punch. It's a bit of slap. I better punch back.
Well, I've also suspected that that he does what I call shit posting, just to say stuff that's so outrageous that it's going to stir people up, and I think he does that on purpose because, like you said, he likes the negative energy.
Yeah, and then you're seeing it, just like when TSR as a company in 1980 went up 400%. We quadded that year because of Dallas Egbert disappearing from Michigan State University.
Yeah.
And we got all that international news. And I had an NBC News reporter come up to me, some sweet young thing that had a bunch of local people. She'd flown out and stolen a local crew from Channel 12 Milwaukee. And then I think I was maybe 20, 21 at the most. And she comes out 20, I think. When she comes up to me and puts her arm around me and whispers in my ear, you could really tell me the secret about what goes on here. What goes on in the basement, and what's the magic and all this kind of stuff? And then she batted her eyes, threw her boobies in my face, that kind of thing. But luckily there was really nothing to say. Plus, I had a girlfriend or whatever, so I wasn't totally in the woods. But it was just funny to see her trying like a spy game almost. Go ahead. Tell me, what's the real stuff? Where's the dungeon here in the Dungeon Hobby Shop? Where's the magic items? Where's this? Where's that?
Oh, I would have. The part of me would have been like, what? You mean the dungeon where we play the game, or the dungeon where we torture real people?
Yeah, that's what she was hoping for. Even saying something like that, and she says, "Was he serious? Or was he not?" That kind of thing. Who knows what could have come out? But instead, we ended up, like blowing cigarettes to make like foggy stuff in front of a bunch of painted miniatures in a glass case, and blah blah blah. And then they had a little nightly news thing from NBC. And the Dungeon Hobby Shop was always our retail outlet as well as our showcase.
Right.
Every TSR product had to have its cover visual in the front of the store. And other people's stuff that were competitors, I was supposed to try to keep it mostly to their spine.
I see.
In the back.
Yeah. Well, they're competitors.
Yes. But we had them because we're a hobby shop and all that. And I even had bunnies and barrels and many other things in those days.
Traveler?
Sorcery, Traveler for sure.
Yeah.
And even a bunch of Judges Guild.
Well, I love that story about Cask and Bloom, and I'm not sure if your father was there, but it was like 3 of them from TSR went to see Star Wars one afternoon, and they came out in the blinding sunlight, and Bloom said, "Boy, that movie's gonna make somebody a lot of money," and he was thinking of Traveler, and that was why you guys did Star Frontiers.
Well, yeah, we were trying to compete with Traveler, yes.
Yeah. So,
and Traveler was the only thing that was selling about 10% as much as our product in our stores.
Yeah, Travelers got deep reach in the hobby.
And then, God damn it, Lorraine killed them. Because when my dad started working with them, she ran him out of money.
Oh, with the lawsuits?
Yep. She stopped Lauren Wiseman and the swell fellow that actually made Traveler mostly. Lauren Wiseman was mostly more of the historical games. Mark Miller.
Mark Miller, yeah.
Mark with a C.
Well,
yeah, Mark Miller's a good guy. He's still around.
He's still around. I see him on Facebook, and I follow his when he's talking about Traveler stuff.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, then, since we've brought up the lawsuit, let me ask you this. At the time when Lorraine sued Gary over Dangerous Journeys, and there was a settlement, and he wasn't allowed to tell the settlement. I get that, but are you allowed to reveal what the settlement was?
Well, see, he was with Gail then, so she was big into all this sort of thing. But what I do believe that the settlement is a non-competition clause and double the value of your stock.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so but he had spent fortunes fighting Lorraine as well as going through a painful divorce with my mom. But my mom, he would have done a lot better probably if he just would have paid what he was supposed to, and instead of using his accountant's girlfriend to help hide away and do other things. So it is a sad thing because I don't, in retrospect, my dad, what I think really set him off the edge was watching his mother die. He was in a car with her, and she was driving and with my mother, and they were in Clinton, Wisconsin, which is by where my dad's mansion was, and they were going to be doing something, and then suddenly she had to pull over, and then they had to rush into somewhere and call 911. There was no cell phones.
Right.
And by the time the rescue squad got there, she was dead, and they couldn't bring her back. And my dad did give money for many, many years to that rescue squad, as well as he bought computers for the whole Clinton school, early Apples, I think,
right,
to try to upgrade the local people and better chance in the world. So my dad at that point kind of lost, my mom's dead, what's it all about? Why are we alive? All sorts of basic questions that still go through people's heads, especially those that don't believe in a higher power or potential other. And I don't know, but I hope. I hope if that makes any difference. And I also hope to be judged on my actions, especially overall, rather than individual actions at all times. Meaning I've fucked up in my life several times, but I hopefully have corrected those things, and I'm going forward in a way that is not negative to any other person or living creature.
So,
and that's but it's again, I believe in that there's either a higher power or else then it is all wasted energy, and I don't know what we're doing. But if I can help a kid or an old person or even just anybody, I'll step over and I'll grab that parcel or do whatever or get a sandwich for someone that's hungry and continue on. And that's what I think is the thing about humans that rises us above many other things, is that we have compassion and we have the ability to care, and not only for our own but for others.
yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'm waxing philosophical. We've been on this too long.
No. I didn't know that about your father with his mother dying in front of him. That's I worked in the nursing home for 10 years, and one of my patients died with my hand on their chest. That stayed with me a long time.
Yeah, my dad started getting to be a little less focused on what is right and proper and more like we're all just going to die. It's all momentary distractions. Live for today. For tomorrow, we may be gone. For a little bit before he got more grounded when he got remarried.
To Gail.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not Gail's biggest fan by any means, but that was his wife, and it was his decision to make. And I love my brother Alex, and his son's pretty damn cool too.
Sure.
So that's, well, it doesn't have to be, but it is the case. So there is love. So she did something pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, she's a public figure now because of all the controversy over the memorial for your father.
And I hope that Paul Stormberg gets that to work. Now, the only sad thing that I don't like is that the treasurer is still Gail's sister, Dee Dee, who is her best friend. And I myself would rather that were not the situation, that it was done by just pure gamers like Paul and others that I think would rather be remembered for doing this rather than potentially having a pocket full of furniture or whatever. Gail's a hoarder. She's got a house packed with furniture stacked all over the place. She'll die with the most toys, having never used them. It's like a collector. All these game collectors with all their shrink-wrapped games on the shelves. What's this game like? Oh, it's in perfect condition. See, it's mint. There's not even no. What's the game like? Oh, well, I don't know, but it's worth $150. This one, and this one's worth $1,000, and this and that. So it's like having T-bills or something instead of products of your imagination.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm sure that hoarding instinct, feeds into that whole. She's not letting anything of your father's legacy go to be reprinted that could be reprinted and loved and enjoyed, and would certainly make her some money.
Gord the Rogue would certainly be nice with a light edit, and those they read just like you were adventuring in D&D games. So those were fun, but he wasn't Fritz Leiber or Edgar Allan Poe or whatever when it came to his writing skills, but he certainly could put you right in the middle of a combat situation in a city filled with little short gray men or whatever else, and they're growl buddies with fireballs bursting here and this and that spell there, and undead draining over here, this and that. He could create that image that's just so easy to be right into it and play. And Dad was the best DM. I hope to be close to his level, and I practice a fair amount. And the only other fellow that I really saw as a great DM was Rob Kuntz, but he's a little more flippant, and it's hard to get him. He doesn't do it for the joy of gaming. It's what's in it. So he's in France now.
You said he's in France?
Yeah, Corsica.
Oh wow.
Okay. So yeah, that's where Rob is. He's married. He's 4 years older than I am. He was like a stepbrother. When I was 9, he came in at 13 years old, and he'd never known his dad.
Oh.
Both of his brothers never did, and that was his upbringing. So, but luckily he became part of the family. He even became a Jehovah's Witness for a while, though that didn't last too long. But I still remember him having to give a speech in front of the congregation that was talking about, I think it was Solomon or something, talking about the beauty of his breasts or something. And he was like 13 and I'm 9, so I'm giggling.
Yeah.
Okay, just for the strangest things that you remember.
Yeah, that's Song of Solomon, actually.
Okay. There you go.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So anyway, I just wanted to give you an idea that I don't have a horn and pitchforks. I'm just a gamer dude, and that Dave and I also get along with all of Arneson's old cronies, and we can differ in a few individual things, but it's very important Dave Arneson was there, or else whatever game would have been created would not have been as good as the game that was created.
I agree with that. And I'm not down with having camps of Gygax camp versus Arneson camp. I'm just not into that myself.
No, there shouldn't be any such thing. There's no need. The participants are dead, and now it's what did they make?
Well, plus I've heard, rumor has it that Gary and Dave buried the hatchet.
Yeah.
And even having each other over to dinner type of thing.
Yeah, and then it became a lot more easy because they ended up with a common foe with Gail. Not Gail, wrong. Lorraine, sorry.
Lorraine.
Gail, I dated Gail before my dad ever met her, and I wasn't thrilled. She was the head of finances, executive assistant.
Yeah.
Burima Okongwusu, a good friend of mine who came from Ghana, Africa. So, yeah, I miss Burima. He was a good guy. His dad was the third wife of an African prince.
Okay.
And so as such, all he was able to get was, I'll either give you free schooling here in Africa, in Ghana, or I will send you to America and give you this small stipend while you go to school there. And he went to I think Milwaukee to go to school, and that's where he ended up setting up shop and moving a girl from Ghana over and setting up his little family and all that.
Mm.
Maybe someday I'll find him again. He also had a plastics factory that was making knives and forks at the time.
Oh wow.
It's cool. So.
Well, I would keep looking. I went to school with a kid from Costa Rica, and absolutely love this guy. And we lost touch, but one day, I get contacted through Facebook from and I'm like, whoa, Richie, and it was like, so you regret, oh man, I've lost touch with so and so for years and years and years, but when you finally do reconnect, it's like old times, and Well,
not old, because I re-hooked up with one of the original Greyhawk players in the early days, Don Arndt, and he's in Michigan, and he's got this big old health club. But basically, all he's interested in is the problems of the health club and making money and his employees, and he's totally focused in his little world and didn't really care about talking about D&D and stuff.
No.
So that was sad, but it was, to him, it was, he quit as like a junior in high school and went on to FFA for some reason, and then I don't know how that led to being the owner of a large gym. But that's what it is. He was just a nice kid. So I mean, there's all these people that were grown up with and shared time. And I don't know about you, but every time I go to gaming conventions, I make new friends. And lots of others. But I'd swear that probably 25% of the people I share a table with, I want to continue playing games with in the future. That's just the way I feel.
Sure.
And it seems to be reciprocated. So I must have a half of charisma, at least in person. All right. So, all right. I hope that this was somewhat helpful, and that we'll be able to communicate and be friendly in the future.
Well, absolutely. I listen. I would sit down at a table and game with you at a convention. I don't have a problem with that. And I appreciate you indulging my curiosity. I had certain things I was curious about concerning your dad and so on. But so I appreciate this talk. I'm glad we were able to to have a powwow.
Okay, good. All right, until the next time, and if not, at least until DaveCon. All right. Well, you take care then, Thomas, and I now have a little better viewpoint on you rather than just what I would hear secondhand through Mr. Lanazza.
So that's the interview with Gary Gygax Jr. And I want to thank Ernie for the interview. I want to thank him for being very frank with me and talking with me. And I do look forward to actually meeting him in the real world and talking with him again. Again, Ernie, you have my thanks. I know we don't see eye to eye on some topics, but I did appreciate our talk. So this is Tom from Tabletop Taproom signing out. I want to thank my subscribers. You guys are great. I want to thank, if you haven't subscribed and you're watching to this point, thank you for watching my video. Every little bit helps with the analytics and the metrics for YouTube. So please consider doing the like, subscribe, and bell icon. Help the channel out a little bit as we build this channel. And keep on gaming.